All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have a Houston Rockets video. Now, they play the New York Knicks tonight, second night of a back-to-back. They're currently 9-19, so we're 28 games through the season. But I kind of want, I posted my recap video last night, but I kind of want to talk extensively about some of the bench players on the Houston Rockets team. And I actually want to start this video off by talking about Garrison Matthews, because by last night I was making the video, it was like midnight. I'm 10 minutes into the video and just barely spoke on Garrison. So before we get into this video, guys, if you enjoy it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I think it's gonna happen. So thank you guys so much for all the support we're getting. We're like very close to 900 subs. So thank you guys so much. I'll be having a video about that drop soon when it happens, but let's talk about Garrison Matthews, because last night, what did he put up? 1 point. And then 2 nights ago against the Atlanta Hawks, what did he put up? Like 5 points. I saw a comment already on this channel about, why aren't we talking about Garrison Matthews, yada, yada, yada. I've been seeing some stuff on Twitter. I've been hearing it in videos, in podcasts, articles, whatever it is. Garrison Matthews, I'm not worried about him one bit. Man, I am not worried about him one bit. You want to know why? First off, Garrison Matthews is the type of player who he kind of thrives when you have a guy like Christian Wood, Eric Gordon in the starting lineup, because essentially last night, let's take a look at the starting lineup, right? We had DJ Augustin, who, defenses aren't really going to be fearful of him, because as far as scoring goes, he's not really going to just take over a game offensively. He did the other night against the Atlanta Hawks, but that is very, very rare at this point in his career. You have Armoni Brooks, who's a very solid basketball player, but he was having a very off night. He's been a little bit cold recently, but you have to worry about Armoni Brooks. But Jae'Sean Tate, Daniel Theis, you'll see it. No one's worried about Daniel Theis. Not a single soul on the planet is worried about Daniel Theis. And because of that, it fucks up Jae'Sean Tate. It messes everything in the starting lineup. Here's why. Anytime Theis has the basketball, they're going to leave guys like Jae'Sean Tate open. Or if Jae'Sean Tate has the basketball, they're just going to sag off of him. Teams guard Jae'Sean Tate like Russell Westbrook when Daniel Theis is in the starting line. Like when Theis and Tate play in the same rotation, teams treat Jae'Sean Tate like Russell Westbrook, as they should, because he can't really shoot. Now, last night, a little bit different. He shot 2 of 2 from downtown. But still, on the season, he's shooting about 28% from downtown. Last season, he shot like 30%, 31%. So not even an increase from last year so far. But basically what I'm trying to say here is there's no Eric Gordon, there's no Christian Wood, there's no KPJ, there's no Jalen Green. So you don't have people, you don't have your normal group of players who are setting you up. Right? Christian Wood takes up a lot of the defensive pressure. Same goes with Eric Gordon. Same goes KPJ, Jalen Green, so on, so on, and so on. So, Garrison Matthews, I think right now, first off, he's just struggling because he's a shooter, and shooters are going to struggle. Shooters are going to go through cold streaks. But more importantly, I think he is just missing some key Rocket starters that you kind of need them there, because Garrison isn't and shouldn't be a vocal point on an offense. At this point, he shouldn't be that. Maybe in a couple of years from now, if he continues playing how he is, but in that hot streak that he was on, in the win streak, you're not playing through Garrison Matthews. So I think once Christian Wood or Eric Gordon come back, so probably tonight, you're going to see a good game from Garrison Matthews. So I think Garrison definitely is going to score in the double digits tonight and have a more efficient shooting. Like I said, shooters shoot. You're not a good shooter if you're worried about your last miss. That means you're already in your head and you're probably going to miss the next one. So these are things Garrison knows. These are things you work through and you work on. So Garrison's going to be fine. Next up, Daniel Theis. Daniel Theis is a solid bench player. Here's the thing. I either want to see a little Theis or none at all. I'm really sick of what's going on right now, where last night, for example, he played 18 minutes and it was a blowout. I mean, this game was a blowout in the first quarter. They got outscored 16-35. The Cleveland Cavaliers are a phenomenal basketball team. So, right out of the get-go, Tice was not working out. And so you go into halftime down 30-plus points, and what happens? Daniel Tice comes out in the second half and is starting and gets like 4 minutes, and then once those 4 minutes were up, it's all over. So I would much rather have Daniel Tice either as a just good bench role where you're getting 15 minutes a night max, 20 minutes a night at the absolute most, because Tice defensively is fine, but that is more worst case. I don't really even want Daniel Tice playing at all because we have Christian Wood and we have Alperen Şengün. So unless Christian Wood and Alp were starting together as the 4 or 5, I don't really see a role for Daniel Tice. In fact, I even like what Jackson Gatlin said, where he was like, I'd rather have David Nwaba get Daniel Tice's minutes if we're going to be giving minutes to a veteran, these type of minutes to a veteran, because David Nwaba does a lot more for us than Daniel Tice. I mean, Tice, you saw it last night. You see it every time Tice plays. The Rockets probably don't win that basketball game. I don't even know if the Rockets have won a game with Tice playing or starting. They haven't won with him starting. So Tice, they're not going to be able to trade him because, or they could trade him. They're going to be able to trade him whenever they would want to, but I highly doubt they're in a rush to trade him. Giving him a bench role, it still doesn't really interest me that much because I would rather give minutes to a guy like Usman Garuba, who at least does something exciting for me. I mean, last night was the first time we saw Usman Garuba get consistent minutes in a very, very long time, maybe the first time all season, and that was because of garbage time. That was because the game was over pretty much as the tip-off. I mean, the game was pretty much over right away from the start. But last night we saw Usman Garuba. He finished with 3 points. He finished with 4 rebounds, a steal or an assist, 2 steals, 1 of 2 from the field, 0 of 1 from downtown. But he finished with a +6 ±. So Usman, in just 16 minutes, 17 minutes, had the only positive ± on the whole basketball team. When we compare that, let's look at plus minuses, we'll look at Daniel Tice, who played 18 minutes. He had -24. He had one of the worst plus minuses on the team, and he played one of the fewest minutes out of anyone on the entire roster. So I would rather have Usman Garuba go, but I still think most likely what we're going to see is, I think Usman will eventually get recalled back down to the G League. I know he was just in the G League, but he was also just injured, and the Rockets are shorthanded right now. They needed him to come up and play for moments like this when you have Alperen Şengün just absolutely gasping for air because he just played 10 straight minutes because they only played him 8 minutes in the first half, and then, 17 in the second, 18 in the second half. So I want to see more Usman. I really like watching what I've seen so far of Usman in the G League. He hasn't really played much, but he has played a couple of games. He's averaging about a double-double when he's in the G League. So I mean, this kid can hoop. He's too good for the G League, but it's kind of similar to what I want with Josh Christopher. Very similar to what the Golden State Warriors did with Jordan Poole last season, where it's like, I just want them down there to get as many reps as possible and to get their confidence as high as humanly possible. Speaking of Josh Christopher, let's talk about Josh Christopher. I thought he did a fine job last night. I mean, 5 of 11 from the field, 1 of 4 from downtown, 6 of 10 from the free throw line. That was not good. He did have 4 turnovers, but he also had 17 points. He was pretty close to his career high. What I saw from Christopher last night was just rookie mistakes. It seemed more so he wanted to go off on his own. I mean, he saw 27 minutes. He wanted to just unleash himself, pretty much. And I can't really blame him because the Rockets, like I said, 16-35 after the first quarter. This game was over immediately. But you still have to play team basketball. You still, you still want to play efficient offense. You still want to play efficient defense. I just feel like at times Josh Christopher got a little carried away where sometimes you would have possessions. I mean, several times you would have possessions where Christopher doesn't, he's not passing it to Şengün, and there's just possessions where Şengün isn't even touching the ball. And, I'm not saying Şengün needs to have the ball in his hands every single possession. He probably should for a majority of possessions, but, that's something I really recognized last night was guys like Josh Christopher. They just, there were certain times where they were just like, all right, get out of the damn way because I'm going to go to the rim with this and I'm going to give us 2 points. And, usually it's like 50% of the time it works. But at the same time, long-term, efficient offense-wise, we probably should run the bench around Alperen Şengün just because he's such a skilled passer. Obviously, I don't want to talk too much about LP because I made a video about him on the main channel today, made a video about him on this channel yesterday, talked about him a lot last night in the recap video, so I don't want to talk too much about him. But he did have a very impressive night, obviously 19 points, career high, 11 rebounds, career high, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block. I don't know what John Lucas's comments were really talking about after the game. It seems as if they don't want him, they don't want to like unleash him. I don't know if it's because they don't want to like admit failure with the Daniel Tice signing, because I view the Daniel Tice signing as Rafael Stone's probably only miss so far in his time in Houston. I mean, you could argue Jared Allen, but also you have Alperen Şengün, so no one's really arguing that they wish they had Jared Allen right now on the Rockets because you have Alpi. But I would view Tice as Stone's big mix-up, biggest mistake, and I think that might be really his only mistake. But still, I don't know if that's why they're so hesitant to play the man, or I don't know if it's a conditioning issue. It can't be a conditioning issue, because if it was a conditioning issue, they would have just ran him all night last night. You probably would have saw like 30 minutes. Now, in Turkey, it is important to keep in mind, he won MVP in the Turkish league. It is important to note that he only played like 26 minutes. He only averaged about 26 minutes per game in the Turkish league. And, he is, keep in mind, he's only 19 years old. He's only 19. So, with Şengün, I wouldn't even be surprised if he never got to start at any point in this entire season for a couple of reasons. First off, you don't want to risk injury. You don't want to jeopardize anything like that. But also, Christian Wood at the 5, I mean, this is kind of like a do or die year for Christian Wood right now. I mean, we're really just we're really just viewing Christian right now, and we're saying, like, for me personally, if he can't get back to 20 and 10, I'd either, I'd be down to trade him. I'd be down to trade him even if he is 20 and 10. But, if he can't get to 20 and 10, I'm not paying him, like, the money he's going to want. So we're kind of evaluating that right now, but I do want to see Christian Wood and Alperen Şengün play more. I want to see them play. Do they coexist? Because I view Christian Wood as a very, very soft forward. Or a very, very soft 5. Obviously he is a power forward. I don't understand why everyone wants him to play the center position. He wants to play the center position. He views himself as a center. So I don't get this whole fantasy. He's built like a fucking stick. Christian Wood's built like a piece of wood, like a piece of stick. If he can step up defensively, we got a different convo going. But from what I saw in the Giannis Antetokounmpo game, there was fear in that man's eyes. Anytime Giannis got the ball, anytime he had the ball, and Giannis is guarding him, there was fear in that man's eyes. So that's a whole situation for another day. Basically, that's it for today. KJ Martin, he can't dribble still, like, at all, but he's still a fun player to watch. He's like 20 years old, 21 years old. Excited to see him. David Nwaba got a little bit more run last night too. But that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We do have a Knicks game, Knicks Rockets tonight, so hopefully we got a victory recap after. But hit the like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you guys later.